I make a special appeal to social media companies and media outlets. Please deal with the misinformation and disinformation that's on your shows. It has to stop.
Censor me, you will never stop the free. Thinking that's gonna shut you down. Post the truth, then go to town. Censor me, kick me off of every platform. I'll just go to get a gab and rumble. Now you can't stop me. I think we all see it, but cannot believe it. The glint in our eyes as we look at the sky to see that it's falling and people are calling. I think we all know that the end is nigh. But how can it be? The people is me. I posted a tweet and it got deleted. Don't look at me like I'm conceited. If you conceded, then tell me why you stuck on the YouTube, then on the Facebook, calling it meta. We fed it the cheese, I mean fed it with cheese. They wanna release all of your data to screw up your piece. They censor me, then take liberty. Don't even let me post up with the need. Album to blast, they gonna ban that. Take it up, genius, you can't even read the lyrics of Brandon. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages from all across the world. You are now tuned into your favorite source for daily news, entertainment, and all-around things of which are going on in the world. The Chandler Brief, where the dress code is, of course, business casual, as evidenced by our tie. I promise I'm not wearing the same thing I was yesterday. As you can see, our shirt is still white, but this time, it's advertising what's happening with the gas prices. Plenty of news about that coming soon. We're going to check all into it today. As you guys know, this is our show we do every weekday at 3 on a multitude of different platforms, including YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and as many platforms as we can before getting banned. So we like to bring it to you guys here, 30 minutes each weekday of news, right around 3 or 3:30. We usually we hold it steady at 3, although sometimes we do it at 3:30. And then we also, of course, have our twice weekly show on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 in the evening, including tonight. It is Tuesday, March 22nd, 2022. So that means the date is 3/2/2/2/2. This is just really fun. We love to see it. But either way, we've got plenty of news we're going to be jumping into. And if you guys saw the title of the stream, you know that this one is going to be a doozy. And not a bad doozy, a really inspiring and good doozy. We're not jumping directly into that part of the story yet. We're going to jump into the baseline of the story. But first things first, before we do that, I want to give a big shout out and thank you to our current Hall of Heroes members. I want to give a thank you to P. Diaz. And this one is not quite occupied yet, so if you want to join the Hall of Heroes for this week, then make sure you go into the description below and consider donating to support our content. We also, of course, support Cash App donations. Let's jump into the story for today. One spot taken away. Swimmer slams NCAA rules allowing Leah Thomas to compete against biological women. I swear, we just cannot get away from this story, although I think this is the last cycle that this story is going to get before we finally leave it in the dust. Let's dig in. A Virginia Tech swimmer who was unable to compete in the finals of the 500-yard freestyle at the NCAA championships criticized the NCAA rules allowing transgender athletes to compete against biological females, claiming the rules allowed Leah Thomas to dominate the competition, as Leah Thomas so did. Rekha Georgi finished in 17th place and missed the cut for the 500 freestyle. In a letter originally posted to her private Instagram account, but later reshared on social media, Georgi slammed the NCAA rules as disrespectful. With all due respect, I would like to address something that is a problem in our sport right now, and hurting athletes, especially female swimmers, Georgi wrote. Everyone has heard and known about transgender Leah Thomas and her case, and Leah Thomas's case, including all the issues and concerns about Leah Thomas's situation brought into our sport. I'd like to point out that I respect and fully stand with Leah Thomas. I am convinced that Thomas is no different than me or any other D1 swimmer who has woken up at 5 a.m. Thomas's entire life for morning practice. Well, there's your reason right there. All right, you know what? You've ceded enough that I can't even fully respect the stance anymore as far as either way. On the other hand, I would like to critique the NCAA rules that allow Thomas to compete against us who are biologically women. I don't know what to tell y'all. And then here's, I think I just accidentally hit the tweet, but there's Reka Georgi. I think it's Georgi. It could be Georgie. I think it's Georgi though. It's I've heard it's Hungarian. Georgi said the rules do not promote our sport in a good way and are disrespectful against the biologically female swimmers who compete. Georgi explained how NCAA championship was her final college race, and she felt like that final spot was taken away from me because of the NCAA's decision to let someone who is not biologically female compete. I know you could say I had the opportunity to swim faster and make the top 16, but the situation makes it a bit different, and I can't help but be angry or sad. It hurts me, my team, and the other women in the pool, which everybody has been saying since the very beginning of this. But unfortunately, if you talked about it, your account would be banned. In fact, my great friend Savannah Hernandez, who I've been on shows with before, she was actually here in Atlanta where the NCAA preliminaries and finals took place, where Reka and the other women had to deal with Leah Thomas in the pool. And though Savannah didn't interview Reka, she interviewed some of the other people who were friends with the swimmers who were on the pool at that point, and they were upset. They were shocked. And Savannah talked about this, spread the word about it, and had her entire account banned. In fact, I think if I can pull it up, rapidfire_pod, you'll see that her account is now suspended. This is Savannah Hernandez's former account, and it has now been zapped. She's not allowed on Twitter anymore, simply for sharing the truth about what is happening with these poor female swimmers. Let's dig a little bit more into the story regarding Reka herself, though, because there's been quite a bit of news about it, and some fake news, I'll admit, that I almost fell for, but thankfully I did a bit more digging and found out weren't true. Virginia Tech swimmer Reka has written a strong, lengthy letter to the NCAA criticizing the decision to allow Leah Thomas to compete in the 500-yard freestyle finals and win the Division I championship. Thomas became the first transgender athlete to win a championship in any sport when Thomas beat Virginia freshman Emma Weyant by 1.75 seconds in the final. I want you to take close note of that name right there, Emma Weyant, because that's going to come up later. The University of Pennsylvania student achieved a season best time of 4:33, but Thomas's win caused controversy, with critics claiming it was not fair for Thomas to compete against females. I mean, biological females. I can't get banned off of YouTube, of course. And Hungarian Georgi, who competed at the 2016 Rio Olympics, put out a statement calling for the NCAA to change their current rulings. Thomas, 22, was allowed to compete as Thomas underwent hormone treatment, and the regulations were altered this year by U.S. Swimming. There it goes, and there's Thomas on the water right there. But Georgi, who finished 17th in the Division I, met in the Division I meet and did not qualify for the finals, believes the stance is disrespectful to biological females and says, can't help but be angry or sad. It's sad to see what these women are going through. I swam the 500 free at NCAAs on March 17th, where I got 17th, which means I didn't make it back to the finals and was first alternative. I'm a fifth-year senior. I have been top 16 and top 8 before, and I know how much of a privilege it is to make finals at a meet this big. This is my last college meet ever, and I feel frustrated. It feels like that final spot was taken away from me because of the NCAA's decision to let someone who is not a biological female compete. I know you could say I had the opportunity to swim faster and make it, but this situation makes it a bit different, and I can't help but be angry or sad. I've read that a few times, but I wanted to hammer this point into you guys that this is depressing. It truly is depressing to see what we're putting our young ladies through. Imagine this. You've been swimming for so long, as Georgi said in a sort of sad statement, basically acknowledging Thomas, saying you have just as much of a right to compete as I do, which is just baloney. But either way, imagine waking up for years you've been doing this, 5th year as a senior in the college level, but even before that, swimming, working so hard to be involved in this. And, charting in the top 8 and top 16 before. This is your last chance to qualify any further. Maybe even go back to the Olympics again in 2024. I believe it's going to be in Paris, right? In 2024? It's either Paris or LA. I might be getting them mixed up. But competing in the Olympics again, maybe, if she's not too old by then. But either way, all these different opportunities you have at your feet, right in front of you. And you're losing out just a little bit because of them letting this non-biological female compete in the sport. Now, I don't know if that's offensive for me to say regarding YouTube, but I know somebody who doesn't care whether it's offensive or not. And that is Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, which you guys all came here to hear from. this is a big story. But before we jump into this part of the story, I want to remind you guys that, of course, our show is proudly sponsored by MyPillow. So if you're interested in getting your hands on one of these very comfortable pillows while supporting me and supporting Mike and his efforts to support basically all these amazing conservative things happening throughout the world and support the truckers, then make sure you go to mypillow.com and use code CRUMP, that is MyPillow code Crump, for your very own discount on a pillow today. In fact, if we check it out real quick, you can see that it's right here. This is our landing page, and it will take you to where you can buy various things like towels, dog beds, slippers, mattresses, all sorts of amazing things. Just use code CRUMP, that is code Crump, for your very own discount today. You hit confirm, and it will apply to whatever purchase you do, and it will go on there. Spooked says, my dad didn't like the pillows, but I did. There are various sizes of the pillows. I've learned recently. You can get them soft, and you can get them firm, and also when you get it, you have to make sure you throw it in the dryer. So there's a few MyPillow special things I didn't even know about, but these are high-tech pillows, probably the most advanced pillow in the market that isn't designed to go to space or something. Either way, let's jump into this Ron DeSantis side of the story, because he absolutely went ham on the timeline today. Shout out to my people over on Rumble, by the way. Actually, am I live on Rumble? I should be. I might not be live on Rumble. That is unfortunate. I don't know what happened. Okay. All right, sorry about that for my people who would be watching on Rumble. I guess it didn't go on there today. Sorry about that. But thank you guys who watch me on Rumble anyways. We'll make sure that problem's fixed. By allowing men to compete in women's sports, the NCAA is destroying opportunities for women, making a mockery of its championships, and perpetuating a fraud. In Florida, we reject these lies and recognize Sarasota's Emma Wayant as the best women's swimmer in the 500-yard freestyle. Ooh.
Billions.
That is good. Hold on, let me do the applause sound. There you go. Come on. Come on, Ron DeSantis. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. Let's read a little bit more into... Well, actually, his statement is very, very small, but... whereas Emma Wayant currently attends the University of Virginia, where she is the member of the school's women's swim team and made it to the National Collegiate, or NCAA, Women's Swimming and Diving Championships. So, the point of the matter here is that Emma Wayant was the young lady that got second place at the 500-yard final meet. And so she was in the top 16. Thankfully, wasn't knocked out by Thomas through that, but came in second at the end, because as you guys could see, Thomas was much faster than Emma was, although not by a lot, only by about 2 seconds, 1.75 seconds. But still, Emma Wayant was just this close, but unfortunately beat out, and so she didn't get to stand on the top of the podium like the others did. And if I can actually pull up this picture, Thomas podium, you can see Emma Wayant is in the side of the picture. No, they're not protest against it or whatever. But I want to show you guys this picture here. Just really goes to show you. I think this one is Wayant. Might be. It's one of these three. I can't quite tell. Although I think that's silver right there. So I think silver, that's Wayant. And so there's Thomas right there. Very tall. Of course, Thomas standing on the tallest thing, but still, come on. Even if they were standing on the same level, these ladies would not be anywhere near as tall as Thomas would. So here you go. So this goes to show you this is first, second, and third. Thomas, Wayant, and then this young lady as well who got third. And I think this picture was just a group picture. And of course, they're going to try and spin it and say, no, they weren't protesting against Thomas. They were just, doing their picture. But it's kind of clear to see. And then here's actually Thomas a few months back when we were talking about it before, how Thomas competed at the Ivy and got champion there as well. Goes to show you. It just goes to show you. So clearly there's a lot of emotions running high regarding this issue. But guys, let me know in the chat what you think. I mean, Anne says insanity. Also says, love this man. Best governor Florida has ever had. Very, very true, honestly. I saw this. Actually, I'll show you guys my tweet. The moment I saw this, I was like, oh yeah, I'm branding my entire show off of this, as you guys could see. And then I also put out a tweet about it saying, hold on, where is it? It's right here. I said, holy crap. This guy, wow, he is powerful. Because that's a powerful statement. Not even President Trump has said anything about this quite yet, as far as I know publicly. I mean, he's going to be having a rally here very soon, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But so far, Ron DeSantis is one of the very few government people that actually reach out and say something about this. 46th governor of the great state of Florida, and he's sure his making his mark on the field. I mean, look at that. Releasing an entire statement officially recognizing Emma Wayant as the best women's swimmer in the freestyle. Basically the champion. Now, I wonder if Emma Wayant will say anything about it. It's possible. It's possible. It's also possible she won't. Because, well, as to be expected, if you speak out against the mob, they will come and they will tar and feather you. Good choice of words there. Speaking of the mob coming to tar and feather you, we have to talk about renowned conservative commentator and activist and founder of Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk. Now, there's a lot of divided opinions on Charlie Kirk and whatever he's doing, but we're jumping a little bit more into what's actually happening. Charlie Kirk has been suspended from Twitter after naming Rachel Levine's biological sex. So he called Rachel Levine by his birth name, Richard Levine, and talked about the fact that he spent years as a man. Everything I said was precisely accurate, and yet Twitter still suspended my account. That should terrify every American, even those who disagree with me, Kirk said. Let's jump into this. Kirk, founder of TPUSA, talk radio host, and outspoken conservative commentator, was suspended from Twitter on Tuesday after identifying President Joe Biden's assistant health secretary in the Department of Health and Human Services as a man. Richard Levine, Kirk wrote, spent 54 years of his life as a man. He had a wife and a family. Then he transitioned to being a woman in 2011. Joe Biden appointed Levine to be a four-star admiral, and now USA Today has named Rachel Levine as Woman of the Year. Where are the feminists? There you go, and there's the tweet itself. Pretty normal tweet coming from a conservative commentator who stands against this madness. And then here's the image of Twitter saying, this violates our rule against hateful conduct. It may not promote violence against, threaten, or harass other people based or on the basis of race and other things, including gender and gender identity, which apparently are different things now. Or disability, which you know what? I'll be careful here. I'll be careful. Twitter said that the tweet was in violation of the rules against hateful conduct. Twitter claims that naming Levine's biological sex and noting Levine's given name was hateful. The rule states that users may not promote violence against, threaten, or harass other people on the basis, as we just read. The account would be restored if Kirk deleted the tweet. Everything I said was precisely accurate. That should terrify every American. Similarly, recently, the Babylon Bee, a satirical site which stood up for women after USA Today named Levine Woman of the Year, turned around and named Levine Man of the Year. They were then suspended pending deletion of the offending tweet on Sunday. Babylon Bee CEO Seth Dillon said that under no circumstances would the outlet delete the tweet. On Tuesday, editor-in-chief Kyle Mann was suspended from Twitter for making a joke that perhaps the outlet would be let back on Twitter if we throw a few thousand Uyghurs in a concentration camp. Sometimes, I guess, comedy just isn't welcome anymore. That's a good one. I gotta give it to them. I gotta give it to them. Dillon has said that truth is not hate speech. They later said that in response to the suspension of the Bee, they never censor yourself. Insist that 2 and 2 make 4, even if Twitter tries to compel you to say otherwise. Make them ban tens of millions of us. Congressional Representatives Marjorie Taylor Greene and Jim Banks have both been suspended from Twitter for pointing out Levine's biological sex. Levine was one of Biden's promised diversity hires when he took office. Levine had previously been Pennsylvania's top public health official under Governor Tom Wolf. This will then go on to talk about the history, but as you can see, Levine has racked up quite the total. He has gotten Babylon Bee suspended, indirectly got Kyle Mann suspended, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Jim Banks, Charlie Kirk, and I'm sure dozens of others that I don't even have the name of down, but it's clear to see this person has been notorious, undefeated for taking down these commentators who have something to say against Rachel Levine. Or just Levine. We'll just say that because I don't like that new name. Let's see what the chat is saying. Rebecca says, I think the tide is turning because these people have devalued the terms racist, sexist, homophobic. Salty Squirrel says, of course it is, but let's ignore Ukraine. Has been shelling its own people since 2014. Interesting. Rebecca says, when it gets to the point that Larry Elder is called a white supremacist, the term no longer has any meaning. Very, very true statements to make there. Moving on to something that we've talked about a little bit here and there, but haven't delved too far into out of care for my channel, although we did a little bit yesterday. We have to jump into the confirmation hearing of Supreme Court Associate Supreme Court Justice nominee Katanji Brown Jackson. During her confirmation hearing, Judge Jackson criticized the congressional statutes and the sentencing guidelines, saying that guidelines are not up to date and are too harsh for child content offenders. Let's jump in.
As you said, the guideline was based originally on a statutory scheme and on directives, specific directives by Congress at a time in which more serious child pornography offenders were identified based on the volume, based on the number of photographs that they received in the mail. And that made total sense before, when we didn't have the internet, when we didn't have distribution. But the way that the guideline is now structured, based on that set of circumstances, is leading to extreme disparities in the system because it's so easy for people to get volumes of this kind of material now by computers.
AKA,
Rub my leg down.
it's completely acceptable now. Right? And I'm not even saying that that's what she's saying, but I'm saying that she is easy on these people. Saying that, oh, because it comes through on computers now, we need to adjust the guidelines and be a little bit more soft on them. Really? She's saying it's judged on volume, which is true. Which I believe makes no difference. Just because instead of somebody using a sword to kill a person, and then them upgrading that sword from a gun, does that mean that we weaken the sentencing on it? Now, of course, you could say, Chandler, murder and child harassing, child abusive content are not the same thing. They're not. But you can make the comparison with the action, the severity and the ease of action of that action, and the response. So, of course, somebody chopping somebody's head off versus somebody blasting somebody's head off are different, but they are still taking somebody's head off. Just because some creep in his basement is looking at terrible content versus how he used to do it 20 years ago when he would have to order it and get it shipped to him makes no difference. But of course here, we're trying to adjust the weight of the crimes when it is the exact same crime. I'm 17 years old with no law degree and a quarter of the life that this lady has. And I can see this. And she sees it too. I'm sure she does. But she doesn't care. Because it is all part of their ideology to roll back what is considered acceptable. To move that window more and more out of the realm of sense and logic. One day, they'll say, this content, you should be free. As long as you're not harming anybody else directly, then partake in it. Of course, we condemn the creation of such content, but if you consume such content and possess such content, it's okay. Right? They may not do it in the next 10 years, or the next 20 years, but if we allow this to happen, it is only a matter of time. And I didn't intend to get so fired up. I didn't intend to get so fired up about this, but hearing it come from her mouth really puts it into perspective for me right there. Really does. Insane. Anne says she has no clue. Salty says, don't forget the Supreme Court is about to tackle affirmative action, hoping for Clarence Thomas to have a safe recovery. It's crazy. It's crazy. Now, Ted Cruz made a great point today regarding comparing the Brown-Jackson hearing to the Kavanaugh hearing, talking about how the Democrats' conduct is radically different and how they hope that the same thing never happens again. Let's hear what he had to say.
And then most of the members of this committee remember the confirmation hearing of Brett Kavanaugh, one of the lowest moments in the history of this committee, where Democrats on this committee sat on allegations, didn't refer them to the FBI, didn't ask for investigations, hid them, and then leaked them against the wishes of the complainant. And we began a circus that featured Spartacus moments, featured such nuts as Michael Avenatti, whom CNN breathlessly for some months described as a possible Democratic presidential candidate. That's before, presumably, he became a felon in recent months. Judge Jackson, I can assure you that your hearing will feature none of that disgraceful behavior. No one is going to inquire into your teenage dating habits. No one is going to ask you with mock severity, do you like beer?
I think it's a good thing, in many ways, that we don't plan to drag her through the mud and potentially malign her character by making her sound like some sort of terrible offender. But I think we should judge her by her history. Now, of course, Ted Cruz isn't saying we're going to ignore her history yet, but we do know Ted Cruz to be a little wishy-washy on things here and there. I hope he gets better. But either way, I understand where he's coming from. But people in the chat are making a good point saying, yeah, see, Ann says, I'm split on Cruz, just something about him I don't trust. I understand. I agree. I think we need to make sure that we are holding her accountable for her words and her actions, especially for what we just heard right there. Aaron says, screw that. Barry Judge pedo protector. So based. I love it. All right, let's move on a little bit more to another person who we should judge the history of quite harshly. And that is
Rub my leg down.
Sleepy, creepy,
And you ain't black.
Joe Biden. Now here today, or actually yesterday, he appears to have run out of brain cells, so much so that the White House had to save him by cutting the video and audio feed. Here he says, Biden stares blankly at reporters asking questions as the verified Hunter Biden laptop. White House staff abruptly cuts audio, then video. Let's check this out.
What was your message to President Xi, Mr. President?
Did he agree not to resist Russia, Mr. President?
Okay, come on.
Boop. And they cut the audio. And then... Any second now. I'm gonna cut the video, but he's just staring there. He doesn't... Oh, geez, that was loud. They cut it. That's hilarious. That's the White House. They did that. White House staff abruptly cut video. Let's see what else Biden's up to. Oh, no. Yet another point where I'm sure they might have wanted to cut audio and video when he said, the New World Order is coming. Times have shifted.
You know, we are at an inflection point, I believe, in the world economy. Not just the world economy, in the world. It occurs every 3 or 4 generations. As one of the top military people said to me in a secure meeting the other day, 60 million people died between 1900 and 1946. And since then, we established a liberal world order, and that hadn't happened in a long while. A lot of people dying, but nowhere near the chaos. And now is a time when things are shifting. There's going to be a new world order out there, and we've got to lead it. We've got to unite the rest of the free world in doing it.
It's so weird seeing him say that and imagining his interpreter here. What's the sign for New World Order? Is it that? I don't know. I'm not trying to be insensitive to people that use ASL, but dang, I wonder where she had to sit there like, how do I sign that? New World Order. I don't know. Obviously, I'm not insulting ASL, but I understand that these are interesting times. Times have shifted. Biden literally saying New World Order. Rebecca, it's exactly what I'm saying. I feel I'm a little guilty. I feel bad for this translator. Doesn't a New World Order mean the U.S. steps down from the top? Interesting. Finally, they admit a New World Order is coming, and then there's later on when they cut the feed in the video, which is just hilarious. The only person standing against the foundation of the New World Order appears to be outsider President Trump. Appears to be. Here he is announcing that he is going to be coming down to Georgia. This has already been known, but here's at least a video about it from RSBN, which ties into a bigger story. Let's jump into this real quick.
Hello to all of the great people of Georgia. I'm going to see you in Commerce.
Georgia.
That'll be on Saturday afternoon, probably around 7 o'clock. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to support a great gentleman, a great candidate. He's running for governor, David Perdue. He's going to clean things up. He's going to do a great job. Hello to all of the great...
Now, as with many people, I'm a little split on David Perdue. But either way, it's great that Trump is coming down for a big rally. RSBN posted this, and as you guys know, RSBN streams every Trump rally on YouTube, Rumble, and other platforms. Except this time, they will not be streaming the Trump rally on YouTube, because YouTube has suspended RSBN just days before the Trump rally. Let's check this out. Conveniently timed, just days before President Donald Trump's rally in Georgia, YouTube has issued a strike on RSBN's channel. On Tuesday afternoon, we were notified that our abilities to livestream and upload content have been suspended for 1 week after YouTube deleted 2 of our videos that violated their company's policies, allegedly. The banned videos include President Donald Trump's interview with RSBN's own Brian Glenn backstage at the most recent rally in South Carolina, and Marjorie Taylor Greene's interview with RSBN at CPAC 2022. Giving no respect to our First Amendment rights, YouTube claims that these videos contain election misinformation and a lack of sufficient context, warranting their removal. Blatant big tech censorship will not deter RSBN from continuing to livestream President Trump's upcoming rally in Commerce, Georgia. We are prepared to move ahead with all-day live coverage on Rumble. We will not allow the voice of President Donald Trump and his supporters to be silenced. How many times has YouTube received community guideline strikes? Probably about as many times as I have, and that's more than 8. So it's clear to see that YouTube and big tech are going to do everything they can to shut down our voices, to shut down our ability to speak out about the truth. Which is why I want to invite all of you guys to make sure that you're subscribed to our Rumble channel. There's barely ever any problems with the platform. I sometimes run into small problems, though they're usually just my user error, because, you know, here I am. I'm running this entire show all by myself and with my computer, so obviously there's bound to be mistakes here and there, but we've run a great show here on YouTube and Rumble, and we're going to keep it up. Once again, we'll be bringing the show to you tonight at 8 for our bi-weekly show on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8, where we will, guys, I will bring you amazing news and content. It's a more relaxed show. We have a great time. So I hope you guys tune in and join us tonight. Once again, if you're interested in supporting our channel, supporting my ability to create content for you guys, I would like to personally invite you guys to consider a one-time or even a monthly donation to support our content and join the illustrious and extravagant Hall of Heroes at the top just by going to donorbox.org/support-Chandler. Those links are available in the description and also are dropping in the chat right now. As you can see, here's the donor wall, which contains the names of those who publicly share their donations, although you can do a private donation as well. Just state it and it won't be shared. You won't have to have your name doxed or anything like that. Also, if you're interested in doing a donation through Cash App, that option is available to you right there. The code is $ChandlerCR, capital C, capital CR. Aside from all that, I'll catch you guys later on tonight at 8. Thank you guys so much for being tuned in. I'll see you guys at Crump Live. And aside from all that, I'll catch you next time, free thinkers. Don't forget to spread the virus of intelligence.